push below the lows, clear this low a day point, people trying to get in short, and we have ES demand right below. Might give an opportunity for some type of liquidity sweep, something of this sort, but it's gonna be important what volume does here. Getting some volume in here. I don't really love that as a signal candle. It did have some volume on it, but you gotta start thinking now. Is this gonna be increase moving down? Giving this a try. I have a pretty tight stop on this, just because it is going off some decent selling, but good volume on this candle here. Just looking to see if we can get a quick pop up, look to get a quick trim. A few cents away. There it is, very nice. So stop now moves to break even. In case we make this a little lower high here, you gotta be careful. That could reject down. That was decent sell pressure moving down, but we did see a nice reaction here in terms of the volume, so I'm a fan of that. And now looking to trim. If we can get a good momentum pop, I'll look to just trim into the momentum. I don't really have any clear. We do have a QQQ resistance point right above, so that might be a little bit of something to keep an eye on. And we might come back down here for this break even, which I don't love this price action in terms of that very wicky coming off that decent sell pressure down, but gonna just hold the break even stop to where it is. You know, this price action isn't ideal, but kind of let it just do what it does. If it comes to hit the break even stop and the rest, that's okay. Accepted that risk coming in, and gonna just be patient with it now. Don't want to suffocate it. Potentially just making a fair value gap lower high here, so that's not really ideal. Generally not what you want to see. But this is close enough now where I'm just gonna let this sit at the break even stop. If we start trying to fail up here a little bit, I might look to take some off, but at this point I'm just gonna let it do what it does. But this is not ideal here, moving down that sell volume and bouncing up with pretty weak buy volume here. I might be a little bit more conservative on some trims here. We get some type of movement. I'm not loving that. I really don't like that. That reject candle there really wasn't ideal. Could have taken that trim there. I didn't quite get it. That might have been the spot though. That looks like a bear flag to me. Like this has got to hold right where we are. But I might want to come and get it. That looks pretty bearish to me in terms of that price action there. Could have been a little bit better getting that trim off there. I didn't quite get it, and I don't chase the trims down there if I don't get the right spot. So let's see if we actually might get back, make it a move back up to get that trim spot. See, if we can get a pop towards this candle high, I'm going to look to take it off. Got to make sure I'm really getting these right trims to make the R to R make sense. We are seeing a lot of top wicks right here though, in this potential lower high area. Just staying patient, not overreacting. If this wants to come back down, hit the break even stop on the rest, that's fine, but This trim here has got to be at the right spot, yeah. You might want to, let's see. I could just take this off here. I don't love this price action we're getting. That might be the right move, honestly. But just some telling me this demand holding is not. You know, I'm taking a risk on it. It might not be a bad idea to just take it off here. This is looking a little weak, but this demand was one I wanted to see to hold, and this price action, yes, is looking a little weak, but it could be pretty trappy in terms of just giving a downside scenario, not coming off, people not knowing we're coming off a demand, which could trap it. There it goes. Cool. There you go. See, there's that patience. No need to rush anything. I stayed patient. Got to get that right trim spot, because even though, wow, and take a little more off into this momentum push here, because even though that wasn't looking ideal, you got to stay patient, because coming off these key zones that you want to see hold, even though the price action, everything was looking weak, they oftentimes will show very trappy price action there to make it look good to the downside. So just keep your risk where it invalidates the upside, and just stay patient and don't overreact to anything. So that was important there. You know, you don't want to overdo it, and you want to just let those plays really work out for you. And now down to 2 runners. I did go with 8 contracts instead of 10. Just a personal decision, but exactly what I was talking about when I was talking through that, just being that fair value gap. Coming off a demand, oftentimes you'll see stuff like that where everything looks good to the downside, but coming off that zone, it'll be very trappy. And anyone who's trying to short there, not knowing we're coming off of a buying area, you get trapped in that, and you get moves like this where you play on the upside and understanding where we are higher time frame wise and catching that move down there. Even if it does play to the bear from that point, you're already getting in profits and getting trims off. So to me, that just leaves a better R to R. So now it's just a matter of patience, and if this wants to come back here, that's okay. We're getting pretty good volume spike here on a doji, so it'll be interesting which way that wants to follow through with, but gonna give this a little room. If we're gonna make this a higher low area, don't want to see this break, but I'll give it a tiny bit of room below in case it wants to wick or anything. Ideally, next trim is going to be above high a day. Been working on letting my runners run a bit more. Have a little bit of a less contracts today, so more so just going to let these last 2 high a day, and then eventually if we can get a really good move out of it, supply, but that's a little bit asking for a little bit of a lot. At this point, it really doesn't matter what this price action does. You don't want to overanalyze it, as I've done that in the past where, you know, when it's not going to just go straight up. We're going to have pullbacks, we're going to have retracements to be going down, and you got to kind of just sit back and keep your stop at an invalidation point and just let it do whatever it does and manage it the way you should. So a good break of this high. Ideally, I'd want to see that momentum come in. High day, look to trim next, and from there, oh nice. Yeah, there it is. See if we can get that follow through to the high day. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, there you go. It was a little before high day, but sometimes we get a little rejects from there. So, like I said, now I have 1 contract. I did have a little bit of a lighter in terms of contract amount size today. So, as long as let's see, actually, where do I want to put this now? I'll probably keep that stop. I'll just move that up a little bit. Actually, I'll move it down slightly. Don't want to suffocate this thing. I'm going to move it below this little impulse move we just got. It's a good volume coming in now. So if we can get a good break of this high day, I'm going to move my stop up to below this high day point, see if we can make it a break and retest. And from there, again, I'm really just going to keep sliding that stop up, looking to target the supply above. As I mentioned earlier in the trade, we have this nice looking bull flag, on the daily. Take a look at the hourly. Same thing, bull flag here. So if this was the low point of that bull flag, we could really start seeing some momentum up. And for that, I would like to see a test of the supply. So I'm not going to get too greedy on it. Obviously, it's a big ask. We're sitting at 506, and that's about 90 cents away. But what I am going to do is just move my stop up and just let it ride. I'm gonna just keep sliding my stop up and just letting it do what it does. So now even so here, so now I'm probably gonna slide my stop up to below this low here. This little inside candle. Move that down a little bit. So that's a decently aggressive wick at the high day. Good volume into a dove, so don't want to get greedy here, but if we're going to reject, want to be careful of that. So let's see. As long as we're holding above this high day, I'm going to look to keep holding this. As I mentioned, I want to see this last contract test this supply up here, saying that this is potentially the higher time frame bull flag. This, if we got the low a day, could really have a lot of juice behind this move, but don't want to be giving back open profits, just being too greedy. So leaving that stop, just letting it move up, and as we move up, I'll just keep rising that stop up. So if we wick this 5 minute here, it's not going to be ideal. My stop's in profit here. Give back a little bit of open profit if we pull back. But I could even slide this up slightly. I mean, we've broken above here, so I ideally want to see us hold this previous high day now, but this could wick it a little bit. In this 5 minutes, not looking ideal. And honestly, this could be, wow, look at that. I just matrixed that freaking wick there with that stop loss, moved it down a cent, and matrix that thing. That was crazy. If that ends up being that invalidation play, that would be slick. Oh. Psychic or something. Now, why I did that was sometimes you'll see through these points that they'll wick down to any type of support below, which was this area. So I just want to slide that down a little bit to try to avoid the wick, which we literally saw right as I did that. But we are trying to hold below it now, which is not ideal. Stop is in place if we do. I'm pretty happy with this trade either way. If we end up giving back, or if I end up giving back a couple bucks in profits, that's okay. Got to be willing to risk that, because you got to think I'm risking, what, like 10, 15 of those open profits now to potentially for that supply above. There it goes. Okay, so that's alright. Held those as I should have. Wicked hard at the high day. This, to me, isn't invalidated, but that's not really an ideal candle for me. So let's see how we did. It's not a bad trade on that, especially having a little bit of a less contract. I think the R to R was pretty solid. I don't know exactly what that's going to end up being. I'll put it on the screen or somewhere once I get that calculated in TradeZella. But all in all, pretty good trade. You know, not a bad one. Rationale is pretty solid behind it, and hopefully that was helpful for some of you guys.